Ibrahim Traore declared supreme leader of a united Africa in landmark decision at AU headquarters. Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, June 19, 2025. In an extraordinary and historic turn of events, the African Union yesterday formally declared Captain Ibrahim Traore the supreme leader of a united Africa, a decision made unanimously at the end of an emergency summit at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa. The declaration, which was signed by all attending member states, marks the most radical political shift on the African continent since the wave of independence swept across the 20th century. The summit, convened under the theme One Africa, One Voice, One Destiny, was initially expected to address mounting concerns over regional insecurity, economic stagnation, and increasing foreign interference in African affairs. However, the atmosphere quickly shifted when a coalition of Sahelian and West African states proposed a bold motion to create a single Pan-African government under a transitional authority, with Captain Traore at its helm. Traore, the young and charismatic military leader of Burkina Faso, has become a lightning rod for Pan-African ideals. His rise to power in 2022 via a coup against a struggling civilian administration was initially met with skepticism. Yet, in the years that followed, he carved out an identity as a revolutionary reformer. Expelling foreign military bases, nationalizing mineral wealth, and positioning Burkina Faso as a beacon of self-determination, Traore drew admiration far beyond his borders. His fiery speeches against neocolonialism, his commitment to grassroots empowerment, and his calls for African sovereignty electrified millions. At the closing ceremony of the summit, the normally cautious and bureaucratic tone of AU proceedings gave way to revolutionary energy. Inside the Nelson Mandela Plenary Hall, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki Mahamat, read the declaration with grave formality. The sovereign states of the African continent, recognizing our shared struggle and indivisible future, do hereby proclaim the establishment of the Pan-African Transitional Authority and invest Captain Ibrahim Traore with full executive powers as Supreme Leader of the United Africa. A stunned silence followed, quickly broken by a standing ovation. Delegates and dignitaries from over 50 member states rose in applause. Flags were waved, fists raised, and chants echoed across the assembly hall. The weight of the moment was not lost on any observer. For the first time since the formation of the African Union in 2002, and the Organization of African Unity before it, the continent had declared a singular head of state for a unified political body. Outside the AU complex, crowds swelled in Meskel Square and throughout Addis Ababa. Youths from various nations who had journeyed in anticipation of the summit's outcome wept, danced, and beat drums under banners that read Africa for Africans, Traore, Our Kruma, and No Borders, One Future. In his acceptance speech, Captain Traore did not mince words. Dressed in his now iconic military uniform and surrounded by an entourage of former guerrilla leaders and Pan-African intellectuals, he raised his fist and addressed the continent directly. Today, we declare our independence, not from colonial rule, but from the chains of division, dependency, and fear. From Cape to Cairo, Lagos to Lusaka, we are no longer Francophone, Anglophone, or Lusophone. We are simply Africans. The era of puppet regimes is over. The age of Africa rising begins now. The new transitional framework, outlined in what has been dubbed the Addis Ababa Accord, establishes a centralized continental cabinet. This body will coordinate a 2-year transition aimed at merging defense operations, unifying diplomatic representation, and introducing a new continental currency tentatively named the Afrik. The currency is expected to be backed by Africa's vast mineral wealth, including gold, lithium, cobalt, and rare earths, thus removing the continent's dependence on the CFA franc, the dollar, and the euro. Not everyone, however, is convinced. While the heads of state signed the accord, sources confirm that some countries, including South Africa, Kenya, and Morocco, requested additional provisions to safeguard national autonomy and uphold multi-party democracy. Concerns were also raised about the lack of a popular referendum and the potential for authoritarian drift. Analysts are divided. Some see Traore as a symbol of long overdue African unity and resistance against foreign domination. Others worry that consolidating power in one individual, however popular, risks undermining the very democratic principles the AU was built on. In Western capitals, reactions ranged from cautious diplomacy to outright anxiety. The European Union called for respect for constitutional norms and national sovereignty, while the United States issued a statement saying it was monitoring the situation closely. China and Russia, on the other hand, quickly expressed support, with Russia's foreign ministry hailing the move as a sovereign choice by the African people to control their destiny. In the streets of Ouagadougou, Bamako, Niamey, and beyond, ordinary Africans gathered around radios and televisions, celebrating the moment with jubilant fervor. Many compared Traore to Che Guevara, Thomas Sankara, and Patrice Lumumba, martyrs and legends of African resistance. In social media spaces, hashtags like #UnitedAfrica, #TraoreRises, and #PanAfricanDream trended across the continent. Yet for all the euphoria, the road ahead is daunting. Building a functioning continental bureaucracy, bridging linguistic and cultural divides, reforming national constitutions, and warding off sabotage from global powers will test the strength of Traore's vision and the resilience of African unity itself. Still, yesterday's events cannot be understated. In a continent long scarred by artificial borders, manipulated conflicts, and economic exploitation, a bold declaration was made. The dream of a united Africa, once confined to speeches and manifestos, now has a face, a name, and a command. Captain Ibrahim Traore, for better or worse, now carries the burden of that dream. And the eyes of the world are watching.